Hello and a warm welcome to the Queen channel. It seemed like the results of the investigation into Meghan's bullying would be kept forever in a box at the palace. But recently, we're seeing more and more information trickling in. It seems like sooner or later we will get to the truth. Let's talk about that in this video. Former palace staff, including Samantha Cohen, reveal insights into Meghan Markle's bullying of staff. And just in case you didn't know who Samantha Cohen was, well, she's the person who has worked with Meghan since the actress first entered the royal family. One of Samantha's impossible tasks was to convince Meghan Markle, this selfish, narcissistic witch, to accept and follow the royal family's rules. And it seemed like she was under a lot of pressure, and she probably wanted to quit, honestly. Samantha Cohen also shared with the media that she was one of the people who was asked directly about Meghan Markle's bullying problem. Samantha is only one of the employees, though, who was tortured, both mentally and apparently physically, while working under Meghan. The leaked information also implies that Meghan really went after female staff. She was vicious. One person even expressed feeling physically sick at the thought of going to work. Some employees were treated really unpleasantly by Meghan when they couldn't meet Meghan's standards. They weren't able to prepare the appropriate red carpet that she expected. If only one or two people left, okay, maybe there's a problem somewhere. But when there are so many people leaving and claiming that they were bullied, of course, there's a problem. That has to be true. The fact that Meghan Markle is a real bully seems to be supported by her actions. Because really, we know it's not only staff Meghan Markle has bullied. She also bullied sweet little 3-year-old Charlotte. She bullied the late Queen with that horrible curtsy, and she even stole her private pet name. There's obviously a pattern here. It cannot be ignored any longer. Now, Prince William had to get involved in this matter. Of course he did. He informed Harry, under no uncertain terms, that what Meghan did was unacceptable. Right at that moment, William realized that Meghan Markle was never going to stay in the royal family. But Harry apparently was upset, and he thought that William was being too hostile towards Meghan. He and Meghan, of course, have denied the bullying allegations, but that's the problem with those two. They deny everything. They do not own up to any of their horrible behavior. A spokesperson for the Duke and Duchess of Hypocrisy also confirmed that Meghan would never bully anybody because once upon a time, poor Meghan was a victim of bullying. So she's trying everything she can to protect people who have been harmed. So incredibly phony. Just take a look at the relationships that Meghan has with her family members. Oh, wait a minute, she doesn't have any because she abandoned all of them. Honestly, how could she care about other people if she doesn't even care about her own family? Her attitude towards her father is absolutely disgusting. Who could trust such a cruel person? Meghan and Meghan alone is responsible for her bad behavior. Once the mask has slipped, and it's done that several times now, both publicly and privately, there's no going back. People cannot unsee the real Meghan. Bitter, evil, ugly. Meghan Markle screwed over her own family. She threw them away, and she manipulated Harry into doing exactly the same thing to his family. Harry and Meghan refused to meet with the late Queen when she invited them to come see her. They passed up the opportunity to meet the grandmother for the last time. And I suspect it was Meghan Markle's revenge. She summoned Harry to a meeting where she scolded him about the mistreatment of staff, and Meghan couldn't stand that. Meghan still ignores all this, and she continues to bully one person after another. After leaving the royals, Meghan told everybody they were the victims. They were bullied by the royal family, and the royal staff refused to help them. Nobody is believing this BS. I'm sure it was incredibly painful for those staff members. They worked around the clock to try to support Harry and Meghan, but they were exploited, and they had a reputation for doing nothing. I do wish that they were not bound by these NDAs. I wish they could publicly denounce or even anonymously report to the media what happened and expose Meghan Markle for what she really is. I understand the whole time we just kept on hoping that the palace would give out the bullying report. Now, there were some people who were really disappointed that the late Queen decided to keep it hidden. But let's face reality. She did it to protect the victims. She did not do it to protect Meghan. Or perhaps the report is one of the secret cards to deal with Meghan. But see, she's way too up her own butt to realize that. And that's why she declared her innocence against these vicious accusations. Come on. This is a pattern of behavior that we have seen from Meghan time and time again. And honestly, think about the two victims that are still under her control, her invisible children, Harry too for that matter. So maybe Meghan wasn't really pregnant with them. Maybe she doesn't have any connection to them. She doesn't feel any love. But there's still so much controversy. I mean, I'm still thinking Meghan Markle was never pregnant. I don't believe for a second that she gave birth to those children. And if there really are two children living with Harry and Meghan, I think Child Protective Services needs to be investigating. This theory is also supported by plenty of details and images. I mean, think about the moon bump, think about Meghan wearing those high heels, doing squats, using the doll. It seems like nobody believes in Meghan's pregnancy at this point. I mean, so who was pregnant with the children? Where did she get them from? These are going to be mysteries that we may never get to solve, but I hope we do. I think eventually the truth will come out. And there's also a big problem right now. I mean, those poor children are having to endure another form of bullying from Meghan. Those children are going to be forever scarred from the abuse they are suffering at the hands of their awful parents. They are being alienated from everybody. They are being isolated. They're not socialized. And they haven't even had the chance to experience getting to know the rest of their family. They need help. I think the truth has to come out as soon as possible if the children are going to have any chance. This habit of Meghan Markle's of being a vicious bully is something we have seen over and over again. I mean, she's been like this for a long time. The only thing that has changed are the people she targets. The worst part is that Harry always stands up for her no matter what. So maybe he didn't see, or maybe he just didn't want to see what she did, but it was obvious he's always been protecting her. Now, I have read that another reason the bullying went on was that staff were supposed to follow protocol, and they had to refer any problems to Harry. So he would either just ignore their concerns, he would try to cover up, or he would report back to Meghan, and then the abuse would only get a lot worse. It was only when Prince William spoke to an employee who apparently was in tears that the truth finally came out what was going on, and the investigation started. That's why William was so incredibly angry with Harry, because Harry participated in all this. Do you remember when Meghan said that it wasn't her job to coddle people? God, seems like Meghan just uses that word salad but doesn't know what she's talking about. How could she consider giving and fulfilling her duties coddling other people? It's not. Obviously, Meghan again just wants all the perks, and then she wants to sit back and do absolutely nothing while she enjoys all the riches that Harry's title brings her. But she doesn't seem to understand that nobody has the right to bully others. I don't care what kind of title you hold. Who knows how much more bullying, how much more damage she's going to be allowed to get away with. She was horrible to the late Queen and Prince Philip too in their final years. She was so nasty to beautiful little Princess Charlotte at the wedding. She has been abusive towards Princess Catherine too, thanks to her online squatties. She was abusive towards royal staff and thousands of other people at this point. So maybe Meghan can try to change her reputation, but she's already shown the world who she really is. It's like Pandora's box. It's already been opened. Nothing can go back in. We have already seen the real Meghan, and what is really pathetic is that she wasted the best opportunity she ever had by believing that she could be in charge, that she should be in charge. She simply doesn't know how to be a nice, normal, compassionate person. I do wish, though, they would release that bullying report because you know it has all the dirt in it. Obviously, Meghan cannot hide her true ugliness, even with her Hollywood actress training. I don't know that she ever had any training, though. Have you seen the footage of Meghan Markle's Fiji market visit? Oh my God, what a nightmare. It was a sign of what was to come, that's for sure. So Meghan saw that UN women were represented there, so she decided to act like a diva and cut the visit short. She really let her personal problems get in the way of work. And then throwing hot tea over an employee during a trip to Australia. There were many other problems too. Does anybody at this point still believe that Meghan Markle is innocent? I don't think so. Because see, this is what bullies always do. They try to act like they're the victims. And really, it's sad. Meghan Markle obviously doesn't care for her race. She never identified as biracial or black before. But then she decided she was going to use racism as an excuse for the bullying. Well, this is a form of bullying too. Meghan knew that her comments would encourage racial hostility. And so she demanded more security for herself, just forgetting about the need for other people's safety. Meghan doesn't have a good thing to say about anybody or anything. She is a bully. She just told her truth, let's remember. She exploits and she cherry picks what was good for her story to make herself seem a lot better than she really is, and also so that she can play the victim. But it's all lies as usual. Harry and Meghan have told so many lies, honestly, I don't think they're capable of telling the truth now, and they can't even remember the lies they've told. That's why there are always so many different versions of stories that they tell. In Spare Remember, Harry told everybody that the employees were slumped over desks in tears. Okay, this is Harry telling us that Meghan Markle reduced their employees to tears. But now we're supposed to believe that, oh no, those employees just cried about something else. It had nothing to do with their horrible employer. Meghan Markle needs to stop playing the victim. Who does she think she's kidding? She's trying to steal other people's feelings of being bullied and use it for herself. I understand how somebody is feeling, and you can feel physically sick when someone is being a bully to you. So I feel really bad for those staff members. I have met people like that in my life. I remember when I was in school, we had bullies. And later on, when I worked in an office, there were some bullies there too. And I understand the feeling of it. It really can make you feel physically sick to have to face the bully. And what kind of pathetic person is Harry, just ignoring the reports of what his wife was up to? And it wasn't only what she's done to staff, but also to children, the elderly, and even animals. The palace did perform an investigation, and apparently they spoke to several different sources. Now, the outside source did the interviews, and the papers of the investigation are locked up safe somewhere in the palace, but that wasn't enough for Meghan. She was never going to admit guilt. Remember, the people working for the palace do not earn a lot of money. Instead, they do these jobs for the prestige and because they love the royal family. For Meghan to treat these people that way, it is absolutely appalling. And I remember hearing that initially William and Harry shared staff at Kensington Palace. So when William married Catherine, that continued. But when Meghan Markle arrived, well, they decided to divide the staff. And then the staff were assigned to the individual household. So the staff were assigned and managed by either William or Harry. And it was around that time that we started getting all these reports of high staff turnover at Kensington Palace. And all the staff problems were to be reported to the person in charge, either William or Harry. And then whoever was in charge, either William or Harry, was responsible for seeing that the problems were dealt with. And it took a lot. William had to finally speak with one of Harry's employees who was leaving to find out what was going on. That poor employee was absolutely terrified and in tears. Well, it turned out Harry refused to support their employees when they came to him about problems with Meghan. Harry just turned a blind eye, or he covered up the problems, or he put the blame on the poor employees. There was no support, there was no remedy in sight, and also there was no end in sight to Meghan Markle's bullying, so they felt like they only had one choice: leave. William then reported the problems to senior staff administration, and that was how the investigation got started. Naturally, Harry and Meghan don't think that this should have been exposed. They think it should have been kept quiet by the late Queen because Meghan Markle loves to feel like she's above the law. But she should be scared now. The fact that victims are beginning to talk about the bullying, it makes a lot of sense to me. It's been a few years, and maybe the royal family, in a quiet way, kind of approved of them to start telling the truth. So it looks like the victims are going to get their say. They're going to finally get to say what they need to about how they were treated by Meghan. And at least then the royal family cannot be accused of hating Meghan from the start. It really confirms that they just wanted to help her. They wanted her to be happy, and they wanted her to be popular with the people. But honestly, when Meghan herself is such a spiteful, vindictive, hateful person and seems to thrive on this, nothing can help her. Bullying anybody on any level is one of the lowest things that any person can do. Now, for myself, I try very hard to show respect for everybody, and it doesn't matter if they're royalty or celebrities, they deserve their privacy too. But still, covering up the sins of a big bully like Meghan and silencing people who deserve justice, that's not a good decision. Harry is also as much to blame as Meghan is. He needs to be held responsible for his role in this. But it seems like people are trying to give him a pass, especially women, which I find incredibly disturbing and disgusting too. I can only imagine how Harry and Meghan made those staffers' lives hell. And if the report is released, I don't know, they might try to get payback. And that's why the staffers really do have a choice. Honestly, Harry and Meghan are like a couple of preteens. They are so immature, they cannot be trusted to show any maturity in any of this. Harry and Meghan should have acted like leaders in their positions. And I've heard that Meghan treated the employees so bad because she was angry that they liked Princess Catherine more than they liked her. Well, okay. And apparently Meghan was more kind to the more attractive helpers. So superficial, it's so rude. Their staff was there to support them, to help them, to advise them. You should never abuse people who work with you. I mean, I don't care if they do work under you. I would say that any leader in air quotes, who feels like they have to belittle somebody or abuse them or bully them in order to show their power, well, they need to step down immediately. Honestly, I'm sure the day that Megxit was announced, so many staffers heaved a big sigh of relief. If Harry and Meghan really were innocent, then they would want the report to be made public. I mean, if I were accused of bullying and I didn't do it, I would demand a copy and I would release it myself. Only the guilty would not want this report to be made public. So it is time that Meghan is exposed as the person or thinks she really is. I mean, not the person she pretends to be. If you ask me, when she was with Harry, that inflated her already overinflated ego. And it seems like she never understood, or maybe she just forgot, why she had those privileges. Harry just let Meghan run wild. They were both so disrespectful to the late Queen and Prince Philip too. It's no shock to me that they mistreated staff. Meghan really is the kind of person that if you give them even a tiny bit of power, they're gonna let it go to their heads, start this crazy power trip, and treat a bunch of people like crap. I am sure that these poor souls were subjected to a lot of different narcissistic abuse from this disgusting con artist. Prince William tried to let Harry know. That was one of the things they talked about when they got into a fight, actually. The late Queen had to tell her that is not how we treat people. But Meghan's response when she was confronted years ago about her bullying was, "It's not my job to coddle them." God, what a nasty thing to say, especially coming from such a lazy middle-aged woman, whom Harry has reported was curled up on the floor crying, hinting at suicide whenever she didn't get her way, or if anyone ever called her out on her nasty behavior. If that's not hypocrisy, please tell me what is. She's such a piece of trash. I don't think anything could be done to correct her. If you're either working for her or for the company that you're both working for, or if she thinks that somehow you're lower in the hierarchy, well, she thinks she can just treat you however she wants to, and it's not going to be kindly either. She doesn't dare ask anyone she thinks is beneath her to help her, because see, that would mean that she has to admit that she doesn't actually know what she's doing, that she's a fraud. So she believes the only people she should really be talking to are people at the very top. And the fact that she bullied women more than men tells us a lot about her character. She's not the feminist she pretends to be. And she also had staff that she didn't even have to pay. She lived in a home that she didn't have to pay rent for or a mortgage. She had so many privileges. Honestly, Meghan is so ungrateful. She's such a liar, and she is evil to the core. And I do think it's important to remember that the staff who work at the palace do not get paid well. They get paid minimum wage. But what they get is clout, they get contacts, they get good opportunities. So maybe they can get other jobs with individuals, other really, really rich people perhaps. But I think it's also part of the reason that the royal family shows so much respect to these people. They work very hard and they know that they're not making a lot of money. Meghan, though, is too evil. She couldn't be kind to anybody. I mean, I simply don't think she has it in her. She's such a hypocrite. She bullies everybody, but then she acts like she's the victim. She even has gone so far as to represent organizations and movements that support victims of bullying. Such a fake! This is really the same as how Meghan pretended to claim that she was discriminated against by the royal family and also the citizens and the media in the UK. But really, deep down, she's the one who hates her race. See, to Meghan Markle, regular people don't have very much value to exploit, so she doesn't really care about us. She's not going to care about, for example, an ordinary black royal employee. She's not going to care about black kids in Fiji. She is so self-serving, and she never feels empathy or even sympathy for other people. So it doesn't really matter whether the report ever comes out or not. We already know what it contains. And who does she think she is, this former yacht girl, mattress actress? She wasn't born into royalty. She has shown no gratitude whatsoever for the elevated status that she was gifted. She's got such a big ego on her, doesn't she? I mean, this alleged feminist bullied her staff, some of whom were women of color. Her hypocrisy is astounding. And then she goes up there on stages with her mic in her hand, talking about women's rights and kindness and other BS that she doesn't believe in. I'm guessing everybody except Meghan and Harry realize that she's a fraud, she's a hypocrite, she's a liar. We do not need a report to let us know that Meghan is a bully. We have seen it with our own eyes firsthand. We've seen her bully all kinds of people, from tiny children to elderly end-of-lifers, and really whole countries too. Meghan, though, is a narcissist. That's what we need to remember. So Meghan is intolerant of other people. She cannot stand ideas that don't match her own. The people being bullied were persecuted by Meghan's prejudice. She's way too overbearing. She just has to force her ideals onto other people. She believes that she knows best in every single arena. I guess we could call it irreconcilable differences. Meghan doesn't understand the rights of other people. Now everybody is entitled to their own opinion. Meghan, though, she abused her power over and over again. Because she was so arrogant, she made them feel like an emotional punching bag. Their lives became absolute nightmares. They could not stand the thought of going to work because they knew they had to see their evil boss, Meghan. Meghan has no compassion for other people. By not releasing the bullying report, the palace was basically letting everybody know that this mattress actress really did bully the staff. Neither Meghan nor Harry ever demanded that report be published because they knew what was in it. So if anybody just believes what Meghan says, I hope they can understand the reason people don't like her doesn't have anything to do with the color of her skin. It has everything, though, to do with what's inside of her, pure evil, which she has shown us time and time again with her nastiness towards everybody, people who she has been cruel to in every way imaginable. And I do hope it's not going to be long before Meghan gets what's coming to her. Well, that also brings us to the end of this video. If you agree with my opinion, please comment. If not, please let me know so that we can better understand your opinion. Don't forget to like and share this video. Your support is our motivation. And don't forget to subscribe to receive notifications about the newest videos. We'll be back soon. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.